Imagine a shadowy room in Harlem, New York, back in the summer of 1968. Just days after the legendary Bumpy Johnson slipped away from a sudden heart attack, his family gathers in secret, the air thick with the scent of aged wood and faded cigar smoke. They feed stacks of mysterious papers into a crackling fire, watching flames devour secrets that could topple empires of corruption in the police and underworld. What if those burned pages held the key to a daring showdown 4 years earlier, where one man's brilliant mind flipped the script on powerful enemies and reshaped justice in the streets? Buckle up, because today on Harlem Heroes Uncovered, we're unraveling the epic tale of Bumpy Johnson, the street-smart genius who outwitted cops and mobsters with nothing but facts and fearless strategy, turning a botched arrest into a legendary victory that still echoes in barbershops and street corners today. Picture Harlem in the mid-1960s, a vibrant neighborhood pulsing with jazz clubs, civil rights fire, and the daily grind of folks chasing dreams amid poverty and prejudice. Towering figures like Ellsworth Bumpy Johnson, nicknamed for a bump on his head from a rough childhood, ruled the underground economy with a lawyer's cunning and a protector's heart. Bumpy wasn't just a numbers racket kingpin, running a betting game where folks wagered on 3-digit combos tied to stock market closings. He was a community pillar, pumping millions into local jobs for runners, collectors, and everyday hustlers. His operations breathed life into corner stores, diners, and newsstands, feeding families in a system stacked against them. But success like that draws sharks, and none were hungrier than Vincent the Chin Gigante, the iron-fisted enforcer of the Genovese crime family, whose tentacles stretched from Prohibition-era bootlegging to rigging unions and buying off city officials. Gigante World was a web of payoffs, $50 a month to beat cops for turning a blind eye, up to $500 for captains who squashed raids or planted evidence on rivals. His machine included early warnings on busts, framed charges, and hidden drugs to take down threats like Bumpy. And it wasn't just mob money. Politicians like Councilman Robert Hayes were in deep, trading favors to cover illegal gambling dens and ignore building codes. In Harlem's 28th precinct, nearly 40% of the force was on the take, creating a toxic brew of corruption that strangled fair play. Bumpy, nearing 60 and wiser than ever, refused to bow. His loyalty from street kids to church elders came from quiet philanthropy, funding schools, artists, and families in need, making him untouchable in the hearts of the people. But Gigante's jealousy boiled over, sparking a clash that would expose the rot and force a reckoning. Flash to the heart-pounding spark. Tuesday, September 15th, 1964, 3:47 p.m. Inside the cozy Palm Cafe on 125th Street, where Bumpy sipped coffee with allies amid swirling cigarette smoke and lively chatter. Suddenly, the door bursts open. Officers Patrick Sullivan and James Kowalsski storm in, badges gleaming, hands on holsters, barking about an arrest for gambling, drugs, and assaulting a cop the week before. It reeks of a setup. Bumpy stays cool as ice, eyeing them with a knowing smile. "Who's pulling your strings, Gigante or the City Hall crooks?" he quips, igniting Sullivan's fury. The cop grabs Bumpy's arm roughly. Kowalski piles on, slapping phony resisting arrest charges as they try to drag him out. The cafe freezes. Patrons hold their breath, sensing a storm. But here's the twist that flips everything. At 3:49 p.m., in strides Detective Marcus Thompson, one of the rare black investigators in a force riddled with racism. Tipped off to the dirty plot, Thompson demands warrants and evidence. "Where's the report on this alleged assault? Why the delay?" he presses, turning the spotlight on their shady tactics. The room crackles with tension as Thompson calls it out. "This is kidnapping in uniform. Release him and do it by the book." Sullivan snarls threats, but Thompson stands firm, a beacon of integrity in a sea of sleaze. The officers back down, retreating with grumbled warnings of "this ain't over." Bumpy pauses at the door, locking eyes with them. "It ends on my terms, not yours." He shakes Thompson's hand, whispering gratitude and a warning about Gigante's long reach. That moment plants the seed for Bumpy's master plan, a counterstrike using brains over brawn, facts over fists. The retaliation unfolds like a thriller. Wednesday, September 16th, 11:15 p.m. Kowalsski slips out of the precinct, heading to his car on 126th Street. 4 of Bumpy's trusted men approach politely but firmly. "We need a word about yesterday's stunt." They escort him, willingly at first, to a quiet Bronx warehouse. There, Bumpy waits, calm and commanding. No torture, just pointed questions and subtle pressure. After 30 minutes, Kowalsski cracks, spilling a confession, lists of 23 corrupt cops on Gigante's payroll, details of protections, setups, and payoffs. It's a roadmap to the underworld's dirty alliances. Then, Thursday morning, September 17th, 6:05 a.m., Sullivan's commuting from Queens when he stopped at a fake roadblock on the Triborough Bridge by men in uniforms, Bumpy's crew in disguise. Whisked to the same spot, Sullivan resists at first, but after intense grilling, he unloads 8 years of secrets, $60,000 in bribes from Gigante, altered evidence, framed rivals, and an expanded list ballooning to 47 names. Add in Hayes's kickbacks for overlooking violations, and it's dynamite. Gigante named 43 times, exposing a precinct where justice was for sale. Bumpy's lawyer, Theodore Green, verifies it all. Stories of hidden evidence, perjured testimony, and a culture of greed that could trigger federal racketeering charges, echoing Al Capone's downfall, but aimed at badge-wearing crooks. Held under watch but unharmed, no broken bones, just bruised egos, the officers become unwilling whistleblowers. Bumpy's gamble peaks on Friday, September 18th, 2:15 p.m., striding into the 28th precinct with his leather briefcase, flanked by Green and 2 bodyguards. Bumpy demands a sit-down with Captain Robert Morrison, 52, and Lieutenant Frank Chen, 45, head of internal affairs. The room hushes as he lays out copies of the confessions, Sullivan's haul of dirty money, the full roster of bent badges, Hayes's schemes. Morrison pales. Chen stares in stunned silence. This bombshell could ignite the biggest police scandal ever. Careers ruined, Gigante indicted, the whole rotten system exposed. Bumpy's demand is simple. Cease the harassment on his operations, end the paid hits, but allow legit investigations. It's a truce, not total war, a path to de-escalation. With a tense handshake, they agree. Morrison whispers assurances. The officers walk free the next morning. No harm done, charges dropped as unauthorized absences. 30 days without pay, but no firings. It's the start of a fragile peace, with Morrison quietly cleaning house, retirements, scrutiny, to dodge full-blown disgrace. Released Saturday, September 19th, 8:03 a.m. at 125th and Lenox, Sullivan and Kowalsski spin tales of mysterious abductors forcing confessions, but the damage is done. Gigante fumes but can't strike back without confirming the leaks. His police puppets turn liability. Attacks on Bumpy halt. Morrison's covert reforms curb the worst abuses, though corruption lingers. For 4 years, Bumpy thrives in relative calm, expanding community aid, youth programs, artist grants, cementing his dual legacy as outlaw and benefactor. In Harlem's evolving landscape of music halls and activism, Bumpy's coup highlights deeper truths. Intelligence trumps muscle. Evidence exposes empires. Thompson's stand foreshadows broader reforms amid racial tensions. Gigante shifts focus elsewhere, conceding turf. The burned confessions, they live on in whispers, a testament to how 1 week's audacity challenged unbreakable power, inspiring generations that knowledge, wielded wisely, can bend even the mightiest systems.
Bumpy's story isn't just history, it's a blueprint for resilience, proving that in the game of shadows, the sharpest mind always wins the day.